Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre. It's finals day at the UK Pro League Week 1 event at the University of Loughborough. We've seen Jack Findle-Hawkins come through against George Houghton to secure 5th place in the first of our matches. In just a few moments' time, it's a battle for 3rd and 4th in the women's singles. Alicia Barnett and Freya Christie, who both had terrific contests yesterday, which just went against them both. Not before 1:30, Anton Matusevic and Dan Cox will fight for 3rd place in the men's singles. And then it is the two finals. First of all, Beth Gray against Emily Appleton, who's been in magnificent form throughout the week. She starts as a favourite in the women's singles, and that is followed by Josh Parris and Billy Harris in the men's final, which is really, I think, too close to call. So lots to look forward to, but let's get straight on to our next battle. For 3rd and 4th, I will look over my shoulder again, because behind the black curtain, Alicia Barnett should emerge. There she is, 27 years of age, from Gloucestershire. She's the British number 19, won all 5 of her Box A matches, came so close to reaching the final, eventually losing to Beth Gray by 11 points to 9 in a pulsating match tiebreak. She's aggressive from the back of the court. She won a bronze medal at the European Games. She's been baking cakes since the age of 15. She supports Cheltenham Town, and she's due to become an aunt next week. But right now, she's getting ready to play Freya Christie, who is 23 years of age, from Nottingham. Narrowly beaten by Emily Appleton in the semis yesterday. She came 2nd in Box A. She won 4 of her 5 matches. The one defeat coming to her opponent today, losing 12-10 in a tiebreak, having battled back from 8-3 down. She's based at the JTC Academy. Her coach is Mark Taylor, but her mum, Carol, is courtside today. She's been banned, I understand, from bringing her flask of tea onto the court. Not quite sure why that is. And she actually introduced Freya to tennis at the age of 5, when, in her own words, she dumped her in a tennis class so that she could go to an aerobics class, but it all worked out very nicely. Freya also loves hip-hop and gaming. Jenny's alongside me. You a big fan of her game?
Oh, 100%. Freya has been in great form this week. She was really unlucky to lose that group match against Alicia Barnett a couple of days ago. That was a really tight encounter, so we can certainly expect that once again today. But the tough thing here about this 3rd-4th playoff is both ladies lost in the championship tiebreaks yesterday, and normally you can go home, you can sulk a little bit, and you can get over it, move on to your next tournament, but not in this type of format. In this league, you've got to come back and you've got to do your job for one more day.
Yeah, that is difficult, of course, because they're so unused to this situation. Do you think it's an advantage, going back to your playing days, would you be good at coming back for 3rd place, having just missed out on a place in the showpiece event?
Well, it's a bit of a twofold situation. At first, no, because you just want to move on. You just want to draw a line under it, realise how you lost the match and move on. But in this situation, we know that this is 8 weeks of qualifying points up for grabs, and of course money too. And if you qualify for the Classic week, the amount of money really escalates. So that could be huge for these players. And it's a 2-point difference for whoever wins this match. Given the fact last year, for example, Josh Parris didn't qualify for Classic Week by 1 point. And given that it's such a huge jump financially, the money's pretty much tripled in that final week. It's all to play for still in 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Just in terms of the points, 12 for coming 3rd, as Jenny mentioned, 10 for coming 4th, £2,500 prize money for coming 3rd, plus the £500 appearance fee that you receive, and £2,000 plus the £500 for appearing in 4th place. So there are other key elements, and as Jenny quite rightly said, if you can get through to that final week, it can make a huge difference. In terms of Freya, that match yesterday, 4 of the 6 matches on this court yesterday were absolutely fantastic. What do you think she might have learnt from her defeat to Alicia a few days ago that could help her this afternoon?
Oh, well, it was a super tight encounter, and to be fair to both ladies, they played great tennis. It wasn't necessarily that one of the players lost it. They both played incredibly, and the match point, funnily enough, was 23 shots long. So I think you just have to come back. You just have to apply your same game plan. And for Freya, it just came down to a couple of different points. She had an opportunity to maybe go a set and a break up. So today she just will need to look to take her opportunities.
Do you happen to know why she has banned her mother from bringing a tea flask onto the court?
She just didn't want her to get out her cup of tea during the match. But I said, you know, if this match goes the same way as it does a couple of days ago, she might need something stronger in that tea flask.
Yeah, she certainly will. And from Alicia's point of view, it was such a fantastically exciting, high-quality end to her semi-final against Beth Gray. The stakes were so high, they didn't back off. I presume we'll see more of the same from her today?
Exactly. To be fair, Beth Gray played some of the best tennis that she has, and Alicia actually said that after the match. She was a bit upset, but she then spoke to her dad and came around and said, do you know what, I haven't played a competitive match since November last year, and I won all my group matches this week, so no matter how this week ends up, it's been a success. So I think both players at this point are just trying to enjoy the match as well. It's less pressure, but there's still a lot to play for.
You may have to whisper this answer because Freya's mother
what are you going to ask me?
just over our shoulder. Who's going to win?
Do you know what? That's such a tough call to say, because if you look at their head-to-head, Alicia leads it by just 3-2, and pretty much all their matches have gone to 3 sets. But are you going to make me call it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go Freya for this one.
Okay, well, Mum will be pleased about that. Thank you, Jenny. She's heading up to the commentary box. Let's join Gigi Salmon, who's still there.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Jenny will be alongside me in the commentary box very shortly. Match number 2 of 5 that we have for you today, and this is your 3rd, 4th place playoff. Alicia Barnett against Freya Christie. It's a 6th meeting between the two, just edging the way of Barnett in terms of that head-to-head 3-2. They met on the British tours largely in recent times. They met on day 4 in Box A, and it was Barnett that came through against Christie 12-10 in that deciding match tiebreak in the 3rd. It was a very tough defeat for Alicia Barnett to Beth Gray. She said afterwards that she hadn't seen Gray hit quite like that before. Was playing some exceptional tennis. I don't know whether that made the defeat any easier in the semi-finals. It was 11-9 in the tiebreak that Alicia Barnett, who trains in Bath, and this being her first tournament of 2021. So playing for 3rd and 4th place. They want 3rd place in the table at the end of this week 1, and that takes with it a cheque of £2,500, adding on the appearance fee, and you'd walk away with £3,000 for your week's work. Freya Christie, a couple of defeats for her, the 4 wins through these 6 days, and she lost in a match tiebreak in her semi-final to Emily Appleton, who was undefeated for the week.
Won the toss and chose to receive.
There you go, just confirmation that Freya Christie has
End of warm-up.
said she'd test out Alicia Barnett to start things off. Jenny alongside me in the commentary box, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Ready for another battle. It seems to be battle after battle at the moment, the last few days.
It does feel they're all going to be battles, and I think that comes down to, in part, the fact that they know each other so well. And they talk about on any given day, any of them can come up with a win because they know their games. It's not as though they're facing a stranger.
Exactly, and Marcus just put me on the spot there saying, can you call it? And I said, no, I can't, but you wanted an answer. It's so difficult because even look at their head-to-head, Alicia marginally leads it, and there's not a lot between them at all. Even looking at their form this week too, they've both had some really good tennis, and their last match was an incredibly high standard. I just mentioned to Marcus the fact that their match point was about 23 shots long. And it wasn't that either player lost the match, it was the fact that the other won it. And that's when, especially when it's a championship tiebreak format, it literally comes down to 1 or 2 points here or there.
It's interesting, the first thing that Barry Cowan said when he joined me in the commentary box the last match was, Marcus just put me on the spot.
He's a bit evil when he wants to be.
I'm a bit worried because I'm going out soon. I think he might be asking me as well. But looking forward to these ones. They're great characters, great styles of play. We know that Freya Christie's got mum, Carol beside. Poor Carol couldn't sit down because Marcus was standing in front of a chair.
I know, and he kept talking about how she wasn't allowed to bring her flask of tea on to the court because Freya didn't want her to be drinking tea.
Really?
But I did say to Carol, look, it's quite chilly, you might need it.
Absolutely. Even just to hold it.
First set, Alicia
Just buy a
Barnett
cup of
to
tea to
serve.
keep warm just by holding it. So Alicia Barnett, 27 years of age, is going to get us underway in this third, fourth place playoff, both coming through box A. Top-ranked player in the women's draw this week, Barnett, at 594. We've got different routes to where they've got to in terms of the college route for Alicia Barnett, and Freya Christie saying closer to home.
Absolutely, and we see very much now how popular the college route can become. Most recently, Jennifer Brady getting to this Australian Open final. It's a great option for a number of players, because if you haven't quite decided, in terms of Alicia, she felt she wasn't quite mature enough to play tennis full time, wanted to go to university, enjoyed the team environment, and also you can further your education too. It gives these tennis players options for when they decide they want to stop tennis or go in another route.
It's interesting that one of the things you hear a lot when they talk about doing the college route is a lack of maturity that led them to take that option, which I guess makes sense. If you're that age and you haven't had a lot of life experience, it goes without saying.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of the players have essentially been in a bit of a bubble. It's tennis, 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 and they may not be ready to make that decision. And going pro is a huge decision. It's not easy.
Excellent play from Christie, back behind Barnett. Both will be looking to get off to a good start and to warm themselves up and to settle into this match, the last match of the week. 7 from 7. Really aggressive play by Barnett.
Yeah, it's
14,
interesting
13.
you mentioned about both players settling in, getting off to a good start. That's something that Barnett struggled with over the last couple of matches. She dropped the opening set to Beth Gray yesterday, 6-11. That was credit to the standard of tennis Gray was playing, but when she came off the court, she said, "Oh, I finally got going." But and then her previous match to Christie, dropping the first set too.
Well, that's
Game
exactly what she
Barnett,
wanted.
first
I
game.
think whoever you are at whatever level, whether it's park tennis to a Grand Slam, you want to hold that first service game and just settle yourself in.
Definitely, it can always be a nervy game, and it's a different type of pressure on both of these players today. They're not playing for the semi-final; they're playing for third place. But there still is a lot at stake financially for the points, and they've got to think about the bigger picture. Forget about what happened yesterday, and think about the fact that they want to end up qualifying for Classic Week.
Yeah, absolutely. 8 weeks of the round-robin format with all eyes on week 9. You want to be in the top 9. We have our ball hunts taking place.
Of course, no ball kids or line judges due to the pandemic, and it's been interesting having the players calling their own lines all week.
I think it's gone okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak too soon.
We might still have a bust up.
Still got 4 matches to come, but I mean, so far so good. They've taken that friendship off court, they brought it on court despite the will to win. So first look at the Christie serve. He won the toss, but put Barnett in to serve. A couple of defeats for
Freya Christie to serve.
through the week, to Alicia Barnett and then to Emily Appleton in the semi-finals.
Let for
I'm
service.
going to coach Mark Taylor up here, but maybe with the semi-final defeat, Mum can now come in for this final match and sit courtside.
Must be nice to have your mum
Love
courtside
15.
as well, because these players, when they're playing, they're travelling so much.
Yeah.
And their parents don't necessarily get to travel with them. I know Olivia Nichols said that the other day. Mum doesn't normally get to see me play, so it's nice to have some family, some friends, and Beth Gray too, her boyfriend's here, sitting courtside. Although I don't know how I'd fare with that. Intense moments.
Well, there's Carol. I think my mum would just talk too much. I think that would be the problem. Maybe the masks help. Can have a little mutter. Carol is a district nurse.
First service.
Has been working so hard, as everyone within the NHS over the last year or so, in the face of this pandemic. And Christy said it was nice to be at home when there was the clapping for carers and she could stand outside with her mum and clap her mum and her colleagues. It would test a relationship though, wouldn't it? Bringing on the other half onto court.
Love 30.
Barnett likes to come forwards. Definitely likes to put Christy under pressure. She did that quite a bit in their previous match, and maybe that was the edge in their previous encounter, because Barnett just picked the right moments. She's a well-established doubles player as well.
Yes,
15, 30.
From Christy.
That forehand is so powerful. Loves to set the point up with a big serve and follow it up with a big forehand.
23 years of age now, Freya Christie.
Let. First
World
service.
ranking of 672, but we've spoken about this week. She has been as high as 286.
Well, that ranking just showcases the ability of Christy, the standard of tennis that she has played, and certainly now in the Pro League is able to get more matches under her belt, build the confidence.
She really is quite a confidence player, Christy. She needs
40,
those matches,
30.
she needs those wins. She was over in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, I think 1 win from 4 matches, but it is about getting those matches, which is what you're going to get with the UK Pro League.
Game, Christy.
Both players on the board, both settling into this encounter to find out
One
who
game
will
off.
finish 3rd in week 1 of the UK Pro League.
Yeah, good start from both players. As you mentioned, Gigi, first hold is so incredibly important. Both of these players, very solid serves. Had the open
Love
court.
50.
She did all the hard work there, Barnett. Just couldn't quite make the last ball. Great defensive effort from Christy. Look how strong she is there on that forehand.
She's talked a lot about how she worked on her fitness during lockdown.
Just missing wide.
15 all.
Also in lockdown, wasn't she serving against a bath mat on the washing line?
Yeah, because Mum Carol banned her from serving against the house. Okay.
I-
She trusted the forehands and backhands against the side of the house, but not the serve.
I did hear that she didn't break a window though.
No, 'cause
She said her aim was good.
the bath mat took the brunt. I think that's a good call by Carol. Not balls flying around your house unnecessarily.
Yeah, she's got 3 sons as well, so keeping them all in line.
15-30.
That's Christy Barnett's frustration at the double fault. Went to Northwestern on a scholarship, Alicia Barnett, for 4 years, whereas Christy's based at the JTC.
30 all.
Just came up. Head came up and that ball soared long. It's a bit of a missed opportunity for Christie there. She knows she's not going to get too many against Barnett.
(30-40).
Nice response though. Didn't let that previous point get in her head at all. Took on that return of serve.
I've got our first break point opportunity of this second match of 5 that we have for you today.
Game, Christie.
Oof. A couple of those
Christie
for
leads
Alicia
2 games
Barnett
to
in
1.
that game, and it's handed Christie the point in the break, so Freya Christie has the early advantage. 2-1 with the break, first set. Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre, part of Loughborough University, home to the UK Pro League. This is the 7th day of 7, a bit of time for the players to rest and recover, and those who'll be taking part in the second week of the tournament have about a week or so to get themselves ready to go again. Points, cash prizes, league table, and finals week in November. That's the aim. And I think Billy Harris said yesterday, stated that he wants to, well, we should know this from the summer, but he wants to play every day of every week.
Oh, isn't he fantastic?
That's kind of what he
42
does.
from 42 yesterday, last year.
With all those fried breakfasts.
15 love.
I know
love
there's
it.
superstitions and players go to the same restaurant, they have the same thing, but 42 fried breakfasts, I know it's a little bit much.
Yeah, his cholesterol must have been through the roof by the end of it. Maybe went on a bit of a detox. Lovely play.
30 love.
Barnett is so solid at the net, but it just seems that Christie has a bit of a handle on her here. That slice is so effective on this surface because it just dies. And the short one too, just pulling her in. Really smart stuff.
Yeah, good use of the wide serve.
40 love. Game, Christie.
And there's the consolidation. And there
Christie
was the
leads 3
frustration
games to 1.
of Barnett. Thought better of it, held on to the racket, but a good start for Freya Christie with a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, really positive start for Christie, and in turn Barnett has a bit of a tendency to be quite hard on herself in matches. Can get quite down on herself, has really high standards indeed. And here just needs to focus on holding serve, stay in the present.
15 love.
Just like that, get first serves in.
She spoke, didn't she, against Beth Gray after losing that first set 6 love. She said, I've just got a short memory. I was able to put it to one side, park it, and go again.
Thirty love. Yeah, long.
That forehand wing for Christie is one of her best shots, but it does have a tendency to break down a tad. Does tend to overhit a little bit, flattens it out just a wee bit too much.
Forty love. Forty 15.
I mean, she made her work for it, Barnett, but Christie able to put the overhead away and claim the point.
Yeah, there's certainly no forehand errors in that point. Much more clinical from Christie.
Game,
That's a
Barnett.
good hold, and it's a quick hold
Christie leads
for
3
Alicia
games to
Barnett,
2.
but Freya Christie still with the edge in this second game of 5 with the break and the 3-2 lead.
Time.
So Freya Christie with the early break in this match to find out who finishes third at the end of week 1. Then we'll have the men's match to find out who finishes third between Anton Matusevic and Dan Cox. And I better get my prediction ready because I'm going to be with
I'm looking
Marcus
forward to that one.
courtside for that. I think that's going to be a cracker. I'm not sure who's going to win, but I better give it some thought because I
You
will
want me
be
to
asked.
take over, Gigi?
I will be asked, won't I? 23-year-old.
Fifteen love.
Looking forward to all the matches today. Women's final, men's final. A lot at stake for these players.
30 love.
They get an extra little bit of a breather having to find the balls, collect the balls. A little bit more time for Barnett to think as that frustration just bubbles up.
First time this week I've seen her throw a racket. I tell you what, the net cards have been savage this week because some
30,
nets
50.
it can fly up in the air, but here they just smack the net and dribble over.
Lots of them were just rolled along for a little bit, thought about it, and then dribbled over.
Christy will be thankful it wasn't a really crucial point.
That's a good serve.
40, 50.
He only missed 3 first serves. It's crucial to putting Barnett on the back foot right from the get-go.
Forty, 30.
Got a little bit excited, maybe. Sure, she'll just move on to the next one. So easy to do. Just think the point is done.
The eyes wide and a little
Exactly.
Let. First service.
Oh, excellent play, aggressive
Game,
play
Christie.
from Christie.
Oh, she did
Christie
so
leads
well
4
off that
games to
forehand
2.
wing. Really pulled Barnett wide. See that ball there? Just gave a bit more top, a bit more height, and then was able to step in on that one. Smart, smart tactics. Seems to really be in the zone today, Christie. Wants to get revenge for that defeat a couple of days ago.
The day 4 defeat, and that was a tough one. 12-10 in the match tiebreak. Seeing it like a football right now.
Love 50.
That is a gorgeous backhand up the line. And interestingly, that's Barnett's favourite shot by trade. This time, Christie taking it to her. Look how she steps in.
Fifteen all. Thirty, 15.
That's definitely better from Barnett. Dictating the play there, deciding to move forward. And to be fair, she is so solid on that overhead. I don't think I've seen her miss one this week.
Let. First service.
First tennis of 2021 for Alicia Barnett. Mentioned those matches, the Christie had over in Sharm el Sheikh, which is a good place for the players to go because it's sort of tournament after tournament after tournament.
Let
But with the
first
amount of
service.
players wanting to play in these tournaments, they're finding themselves in pre-qualifying. No money, no points, just more matches to get through to qualifying, to try and get into the main draw. Things just an awful lot tougher at the moment.
Forty 15.
It's been a good turnaround from Barnett in this game. She was love 15 down. It's just improved the depth of her shots.
Game Barnett.
It was a good recovery and a good hold for
Christie
Alicia
leads 4
Barnett.
games to 3.
Freya Christie, though, still with the edge and with the break in this first set as we get to the middling part. Christie with the 4-3 lead.
Time.
Second match of 5 that we have for you today. The next two, this one and the next one's all about who finishes third. And it's all about getting the matches in, getting the points, seeing if you can make it to finals week in November. Great competition for these British players, and at the moment I just touched on it, there's not that many tournaments. The tournaments there are, the cut-off is so high. There's players dropping down from challenger level to get in, and it's even hard to get into pre-qualifying.
Oh, it's so tough at the moment and mentally challenging for these players. They're working so hard and doing what they can and can't even get a point out of it or money.
Yeah. When you go through pre-qualifying, qualifying, if you go on and win the tournament, all that for probably 10 points, all those matches. It's set up nicely for Barnett.
Yeah, there was a lot
Love
of air
15.
underneath that drop shot. And I think Barnett's eyes lit up because she was really on the back foot here. Christie done everything right. Just changed her mind, Christie, midway through. An easy put away for Barnett.
Love 30.
takes her time, does Christie in between points. Doesn't rush. Needs a bit of composure here. Love 30.
Oof.
Love
Just
40.
the more time she took ahead of that second serve, you felt that might be the outcome, and now a golden opportunity for Barnett to get us back on serve.
Yeah, the concentration just seemed to dip away. And this game has been a little sloppy from Christie. Can't afford to do that against someone of Barnett's calibre.
Fifteen 40.
You can see the court position here for Barnett. Just getting further and further behind the baseline, and credit to Christie's shot making there. She's pegged back one of these break points.
Let. First service. Thirty 40.
Yeah, understandable frustration from Barnett there. She should have done better. Now things tighten up a little bit. A couple of break points to this point.
I have to say I'm impressed with how Christie has responded to facing triple break point. She seemed to have completely lost her concentration in this game. Was taking quite a lot of time between serves. Mind maybe wandered elsewhere, but credit to Christie, she's brought it back and lifted her level 2 on those 3 points.
Advantage, Christie.
Yeah, what a turnaround this is from love 40 to game point.
Juice.
It doesn't look good for Barnett, maybe just pulling up a little bit there. Bear in mind, this is their 7th match of the week. 7 in 7 days. And both players on this court have had a number of battles as well. Just taking a little bit of a toll on the body.
Advantage, Barnett. In the corner.
Jack Findle-Hawkins said after his match he was pretty knackered after playing 7 matches, but what a week he had.
Yeah, really good week. He said when we spoke to him after the first set, I'll be more honest at the end of the match as to how I'm feeling. That's a fourth break point come and gone from Alicia Barnett.
Deuce.
I don't know whether she's bending over because the side is causing her trouble, or she was just annoyed that she couldn't convert. Bit of both.
And it's just looking to be a bit of a key game in this set, which way the momentum will swing.
Advantage, Christie.
Doesn't look comfortable at the moment, Barnett.
No, and always, if you're in a losing position too, it feels even worse. Feels like an uphill battle. You're quite aware of the fact that something's hurting. Also, you don't want to do any more damage either.
Remembering that the players are calling their own lines.
Deuce.
Yeah, good play from Barnett.
Advantage, Barnett.
She just stepped up the aggression levels in the last couple of points. The previous one was an incredible winner down the line. I just wonder if that was a bit of a turning point for Barnett. It happens so often in a tennis match. Just 1 point can make the difference and turn a match on its head.
Deuce.
Well, it's definitely causing her some discomfort. She pens over double again, Barnett. It's just how much, and as you say, she won't want to do any more damage to it.
Seems to be that backhand wing as well that's hurting her. If it's her lower back on the left-hand side, the rotation causing discomfort.
Let. First service. Advantage Barnett.
Sixth break point opportunity now, this for Barnett.
Yeah, that was a frustrating point for Christie there. She really was in control of it. Just missing the last ball. And this game really has been Barnett's for the taking.
Deuce.
And the game continues. It's an epic game this is turning out to be. Game number 8, set number 1. 6 breakpoint opportunities now have come and gone for Alicia Barnett.
She's just become a little bit passive on the break points, is allowing Christie to dictate the play. But credit to Christie, she's hanging on in there.
Wonderful placement at the backhand by Christie.
Advantage,
The slide
Christie.
that's not going to help Barnett if she is feeling a little discomfort. An opportunity for Christie to get the hold.
I'm sure Christie's aware that her opponent is in some discomfort too, and sometimes it can be a little bit distracting because it's Christie who's come out firing more so than Barnett in this match, but your mind can wander from your game plan. Start focusing on what your opponent's doing. It's so easy. Just has to stay focused here, Christie, if she's to continue to stay out in front.
And there's the hold, and there's the
Game,
frustration
Christie.
from Barnett, and what a
Christie
hold
leads 5
that
games to
might
3.
turn out to be as Christie moves to 5-3.
You know, what a battle that game was, and Christie managing to come through, and you just got to wonder where Barnett's head has gone now. Clearly frustrated indeed, and now has to gain her composure quickly because she has to serve to stay in this opening set.
Love.
If you're Christie here, you don't want to be making any errors. You want to get the ball in play, put Barnett under pressure, get the first set and serve in the opening game of the second.
Well, she's definitely testing out
15
Barnett, moving her from side to side.
It's definitely the right tactic, especially if you know that your opponent is feeling it a little bit physically.
30-15. All.
That's a stunner off the backhand wing.
This is great footwork from Christie here on this backhand. Return of serve so deep, but got herself right in a perfect position here. Look at the little steps. So much rotation as well.
Oof. There's
30-40.
that net cord again.
It's devilish.
It's devilish, it's brutal, and it's set point Christie.
Deuce.
Really effective tee serve there from Barnett, changing it up. Caught Christie unawares.
Advantage, Barnett.
That time Barnett a bit more aggressive. She hasn't actually come to the net that often in this match, and that was something that was working really well against Christie a couple of days ago when she got that victory.
Deuce.
Barnett just getting caught there. You could see her slapping her thigh at the end of the point, saying, come on, use your legs.
Yeah.
But if she's feeling it a bit physically, it's tough to get them going. It's tough to get the little steps in. It's tough to bounce around.
Advantage, Christie.
Another opportunity for Freya Christie to close out the set, and how dearly she would like to get the job done here on the Barnett serve.
Deuce.
That's the tee serve once again. Catching Christie by surprise. 2 set points. Barnett's gone for it. Both times Christie has made a return error.
It's falling back, Chris Barnett.
Advantage, Christie.
Hands Christie. A third opportunity to get the break and with it the set.
It looked wide.
Yesterday we had,
Yes.
let's go with wide. Today we have look wide. I think Christie just wants a double confirmation on that. But Barnett had already turned her back to gather the balls, to get back in position. Set point gone. Wonderful point
Advantage, Christie.
by Christie, able to pin Barnett back, not allow her to come forward at all.
Exactly, and Barnett actually hesitated because she thought one of the balls may have been wide. That's why she shouted at the end of the point. And it's difficult when you're calling your own lines, trying to concentrate on hitting the ball, playing the point too.
Set point number 4 for Christie.
Let. First service.
Will she go T once again?
Well, it's worked before.
Deuce.
Having a couple of effort games in this set. Back to back, we had game 8 when Christie came from love 40 down to save 6 break points, and now we've had 4 break points on the Barnett serve, which in turn were set points for Christie.
Advantage, Barnett.
It's just such an up and down game for both players. Christie's just gone a little bit passive. She's been the aggressor most of this opening set. I think the scoreboard is getting in her head a tad. Struggling to close out this opening set, but credit to Barnett, she's hanging on in there.
T-serve
Game
has
Barnett.
worked for Alicia Barnett in that
Christie
game.
leads 5
What a
games to
hold
4.
that could still turn out to be, because Freya Christie very shortly missed those opportunities, and she'll be serving Jenny to serve for the set, Barnett to stay in the set, and it's how quickly things can change in tennis. Has that got into the mind of Christie? What does Barnett do now? I have to say Barnett looks like she is moving better, not so much sort of moving and checking of the side right now.
Yeah, exactly. At the beginning of that game, she looked in considerable pain, but
Ladies and gentlemen, the physio has been called to court.
Well, there we go, still in a bit of pain.
yeah, I'm not surprised the physio's coming on court because it did look like she was wincing, especially off that backhand side, and also it delays the time for Christie to serve for this set. Makes her think about those set points that she had. But Christie doesn't want to get cold. She
I
wants
find
to-
that a very painful stretch to do.
The pigeon.
Yeah, not very flexible. That's painful.
Have you seen how many of the players have done the splits this week?
a few.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
both Barnett and Gray in their match. Liz Maloney did it as well.
And now we've got a pigeon. Oh, God.
Full on yoga session.
Yeah, a little bit of yoga. She's already ready for the treatment with a towel in place, just see if they can manipulate the area loosener. And as you say, it's giving Christy more time to think, and at this kind of time doesn't want more time to think.
No, she definitely doesn't. She wants to move on and take this first set. And she'll be kicking herself because she has been playing some really good tennis, and then on those set points just stood further back behind the baseline, chucked in a few slices as if to say, I don't want to miss, and was hoping that her opponent would.
She had the 4 set points. They came and went. Just a little bit of time just to glance over at your opponent. Don't let that get into your head. The fact that, is she injured, is she not? Do I change how I'm playing because maybe she's slightly hampered? Just stick to what you have been doing.
Yeah, it's been working well for her in this opening set. To be fair, she's been serving well too, getting a lot of first serves. Just under 80% of first serves. And winning 70% of them when they go in. And that is what her game is about. The big first serve, the big forehand. She's been dictating play a lot of the time. And Barnett, contrastingly, comes into the net far more often, likes to move forward, but hasn't really had that many opportunities to do so in this match due to the big ball striking from the Christy racket.
Child's pose. We're going through our yoga moves now. Had the pigeon, we're now in child's pose.
Cat cow soon.
Cat cow. That's slightly to the side, child's pose. And for Freya Christie, she could have a chat with Mum Carol. Turn around, exchanged a few words.
Do you know the story of how Freya first started playing tennis? It's brilliant. So her mum Carol, in her own words, told Marcus this morning that she dumped her at a tennis class in Nottingham Tennis Centre while she went to it.
Yep, good work.
While she went to an aerobics class when she was 5 years old, and 3 weeks later she was asked to represent Nottingham. Didn't know how to score, didn't know how to really play tennis, but
You look for childcare where you can.
but it was a great decision by Mum Carol.
Absolutely. Another pigeon. Now downward dog. I feel we really are going through the yoga is so good for you, so good
Time.
for the body, and we've had a few examples of a few poses there.
Exactly. I've had an injury over the last few months and it's worked wonders. It's also so good for the mind as well, and I think it's something many tennis players look to. We know that Novak Djokovic, for instance, does so much yoga.
Well, he hangs upside down in
does.
those things, which
It
no.
looked like some extensive stretching.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that. Christie,
15
3
love.
points away from the set. A little bit more stretching is done by Alicia Barnett as Christie wants that ball back again.
I'm a little surprised Christy wasn't up and about during that injury timeout because it's not the warmest inside. Doesn't want to let her body go cold, her muscles stiffen up.
All.
That was that passive play once again from Christy. She was a good few feet behind the baseline when she hit that slice backhand. Needs to stick to her game plan. Hug the baseline.
30-15. Forty 15.
She had 4 set point opportunities on the serve of Barnett. Now she has a couple on her own. Christie looking to close out this first set as they play for 3rd place in the league, in the table. There it is. Does it the first time of asking on her own serve. So the break didn't distract Freya Christie. She does get the job done, and she leads by a set, closing it out by 6 games to 4. Can you hear us, Freya?
Yep. got you.
Hello. We're just on a break at the moment, but when we come back, we'll just throw you a couple of questions if that's all right.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you very
problem.
much. Awesome. I'm happy to say that we can go courtside and speak to Freya Christie. Freya, great first set coming through, and I just want to talk about game number 8 when you were love 40 down and had to save those 6 break points. How important was that to the outcome of the set?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a big momentum. You know, I started the game off, you know, I was a break up and I was serving and I was holding my service games quite well, and, you know, to go love 40 down after a couple of loose points, and, you know, I really had to dig deep, and I think to come through that game was massive for the set.
Well, Freya, having 4 set points when you were leading 5-3, then didn't come through that game. Barnett won it. You then had, Alicia had the injury timeout, then you served for the set. Was that tough to keep your composure or concentration?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a break of momentum, isn't it? 5-4, but I mean, I was happy I was serving, and yeah, I served it out well, so I'm pleased with that.
And I believe you didn't allow your mum to bring her tea onto court. That's a bit harsh, Freya, because it's cold.
Well, I know, but I said to her if she got the cup of tea out, I was going to hit a tactical ball at her to knock it over. So, yeah.
Harsh. That is really harsh. Freya, thank you. We'll let you prepare for the second set, and good luck.
Thank you.
Wow. It wasn't even you can't take it, it's if you do take it, and they hit a ball at you.
Oh, I love it. She said she could take a jacket on to keep her legs warm,
That's nice.
but not the flask of tea.
Oh, well, she'll whatever the outcome, a big cup of tea at the end of this one, but it was a good first set. Now, she said it's difficult to keep the concentration in that 8th game. I mean, how important that did turn out to be for her.
Second
Yeah,
set.
it really was, and credit to her. She said as well, it was tough, but she knew what job she had to do, and she held her serve to 15.
Barnett to serve. Love 15.
oof, hitting through your opponent. That's the way to get the job done in the point one.
Yeah, goodness me, that was a close one, but good scrambling from Christie. Was doing everything she could to stay in that point. Barnett opting for the down the middle option.
There's that brutal net again.
15-13.
It's the third player on this tennis court.
And that went the way of Christie, just opening the door a little bit in this first game, the second set. Such an important game for Barnett, having dropped the first set, having had the medical timeout, looking to settle.
That's a nice response.
30 all.
As down as Barnett can get on herself in matches, she knuckles down every single point. Every single point to Barnett is super important. She doesn't let up at any stage.
(40-13).
Well, the slice backhand from Christie just dropping a little bit short on the defensive. And Barnett taking advantage of that, peppering the Christie backhand there.
Deuce.
Deuce again. It's been a pretty tight contest. A number of the games in the opening set went to deuce, a couple of pivotal ones as well.
Just taking their time.
Advantage Christie.
She hasn't double faulted since the first time she got broken in the opening set when she threw in two. And that could be a costly one here.
Deuce.
She didn't like that one. Once again, Christie finding herself a couple of feet behind the baseline there. Allowing Barnett to dictate the point.
Advantage Barnett. Game Barnett. Ball change. First game, second set.
The opportunity came and went for Christie, which is why she is yelling in frustration, but possibly a game to settle Barnet as she holds for 1-love.
Absolutely a game to settle Barnet, and you just have to wonder whether that game will frustrate Christie even further. Look at that break point for Barnet, 0 from 6. That could have been a major turning point in the opening set. Both players serving pretty well, high 70s first serve percent. It was just a few points here and there, but Christie was certainly the more dominant player in the opening set. Barnet with a few back issues as well that was hampering her.
We've lost the umpire.
It's never a good thing.
It's not helpful, is it? Changing the balls. Gathering the old ones, distributing the new.
Christie will like this, actually. New balls, a bit of extra bite. Big server, of course. And been serving well so far. Be looking for an easy service game, a straightforward one, because that's something that neither player has really found in the last half an hour.
Yeah, they're harder to come by at the moment. Following this, we'll have another third-place playoff between Anton Matusevic and Dan Cox.
Love
Just
15.
a little glance up to the chair. She got the look she wanted, that the return had found the line.
$15-all.
Then we've got our finals. Beth Gray against Emily Appleton. Appleton lost just the 4 games against Gray in the group stage. And then Josh Paris against Billy Harris, with Harris just edging that head-to-head 2-1.
15-30. $30-all.
What happened there indeed? Ball just died on the court. Barnet left stretching. No wonder she's a little frustrated. That was an opportunity.
Let first service. $30-40.
As we had in game 1, we've got a break point in game 2.
And if Barnet has her way, she'll be taking this to 3 sets. She loves a 3-setter. She came off court yesterday and said, typical Lissy fashion, I went to 3 sets.
Well, she has the
Game
break.
Barnet.
She has the opportunity to take this the distance. Still a
Barnet
long way
leads
to
2
go.
games to love.
But it's Barnet with the early break and the 2-love lead.
And Christie's levels just dropped ever so slightly. Just throwing in a few unforced errors there. Just seems to be overthinking a little bit too much. Needs to remember her game plan from when she walked onto the court at the beginning of this match. She looked confident in her game. She believed in it, and I think just at the moment, a little bit apprehensive.
They've both gone the distance 3 times through their first 6 matches here. Planted her feet perfectly and let rip.
15 love.
And that's what Barnett can do. If you give her an inch, she takes a mile. She loves a momentum shift. Then starts swinging.
Love. Thirty 15. Forty 15. Forty 30. Game, Barnett. Barnett leads 3
She doesn't look
games to
too
love.
happy about it, but she has consolidated her break, and it's Barnett with the lead. 3 love in the second. So the momentum shift complete with Barnett consolidating that break in the second set. Doesn't look happy though, does she? Doesn't look like she's enjoying it out there, despite getting herself in set 2 into a winning position.
No, that's exactly right. It was the same yesterday. She dropped the opening set to Beth Gray 6-love, and Gray was playing some of the best tennis that I've certainly seen her play all week, and that's what Barnett said after as well. Managed to get herself back in the match, won the second set, and when I spoke to her, she was just hard on herself, just couldn't forget about what happened in the first set, the fact that she lost at 6-love, but here just needs to play in the present. And also give herself a little bit more credit.
15 love.
Be a bit easier on herself. Because bear in mind, she said it herself after the match, she hasn't played a competitive match since November last year, and it takes time to build confidence. And she's only had one loss this week.
Yeah, exactly. Been playing so well. Undefeated through to the semi-finals.
It's not been the most straightforward of matches. She has dropped a few sets. She's had to win, 3 championship tie breaks. But still, a win is a win.
Yeah, certainly is. And a win today, and they will finish in 3rd place.
Fifteen all.
That forehand wing of Christie is so effective when it's firing, but just gets a little bit tight, doesn't quite hit through the ball, doesn't get the top spin on it.
Fifteen 30.
It's interesting, Christie has gone for the slice when defending off that backhand wing a lot, even when she's a couple of feet behind the baseline, rather than using it to change up the pace or to chuck in a low short slice to draw Barnett into the net. She's using it as defensive, and it's not working in her favour right now. Needs to maybe drive a few more.
Thirty all.
If you just switched on and looked at Alicia Barnett and didn't know the score, you'd think she was losing terribly. Such is the frustration etched across her face. Excellent. Ace
40
down the
30.
tee.
Just her second of the match. Certainly take a nice cheap point because had a lot of tight games in this match.
Oof.
Juice.
Couple of very close ones from Barnett.
Painting the lines.
Oh,
I'm sure Christie was wishing them to go just a centimetre further. I think Christie actually thought it was long, but called good.
She made herself a bit of a target at the net, Christie.
No
That ball
advantage, Barnett.
sat up, and a point now for Barnett to go a double break to the good.
Just got in a tangle with that first volley. Barnett had the option of either side. This set slipping away from Christie at the moment.
Game Barnett.
And it continues
Barnett
to
leads 4 games to love.
slip and slide away because it's now Alicia Barnett who leads with a double break. Still doesn't look entirely comfortable, but she's got the 4-love lead in the second set.
Yeah, Christie will be kicking herself there. There's a massive difference between trailing 1-3 or love 4. She would have stopped the run of games there, had a point to win the game on her serve. Just made a few wrong decisions. Now, Alicia Barnett really in the driving seat in this second set.
Love 15.
Well, if you're Christie here, you need to get some energy going. She's probably feeling a little bit flat after what's happened with this set. Get the legs going, get the feet going. Try and find her form again, because that first set from Christie really was some very good tennis indeed.
Excellent placement from Barnett.
15 all. Thirty, 15.
She's continuing to move forward to the net, despite, I'd love to see the numbers for her net points won, because I don't believe they'll be in her favour.
Forty, 15. Game Barnett. Barnett
Very
leads 5
comfortable so
games to
far
love.
for Alicia Barnett. A game away from taking us into a deciding match tiebreak. Well, it looks like we're going to have a deciding tie break between these two to decide who will finish third, with Alicia Barnett now a game away from what has been a very comfortable second set to this point.
It really has. Christie's levels just dropped somewhat from the opening set, and she's been quite frustrated as the set has progressed. But credit to Barnett, she shows time after time after time that she is such a fighter.
Love. All.
I think I would be shouting a massive come on if I hit a shot like that. Beautiful passing shot. She was so far behind the baseline.
Didn't
have to be that big from Christie. She'd already created the space.
What
a set this has been for Alicia Barnett. One to forget to this point for Freya Christie, but Barnett with the chance to take us to the deciding match tiebreak. Double set point.
30-40. Game and second
It's
set,
great play throughout
Barnett.
that set from Alicia
16
Barnett,
to
especially
love.
to turn it around
One
from
set all.
losing the first. 6-love, we will have ourselves a match tiebreak very shortly.
ladies and gentlemen, after the set break.
Hi, Alicia, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent, perfect. We're just on a break at the moment, and when we come back, we'll just ask you a couple of questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to say that we can go courtside now and speak with Alicia Barnett. Alicia, congratulations on taking the second set. My first question has to be, how are you physically? Because things don't look all that comfortable.
Yeah, I just got a slight spasm in my back early doors, but I don't think it's really affecting my play that much. I'm just a little bit freer now because, yeah, it hurts. I'm sure it does. Well, I'm glad you're okay, and I hope it gets a little bit better. But certainly that second set, what a comeback from you once again. You're a bit of a comeback queen this week. What did you do to turn it around?
I think I just settled a little bit. The first set was a bit ropey, too many errors, forcing it a little bit. And credit to her, she was stepping forward. But that second set, I think this whole match is in my control, to be honest.
You seem to give yourself a really hard time out on court, Alicia. Is that how you're feeling inside?
Honestly, right now I'm just taking 1 point at a time. I've literally lost the score a couple of times because I was just trying to focus on the point at hand.
And who have you got with you on court today?
Laura Sainsbury, an old friend from Team Bath.
Is she giving you some good support?
Yeah, just having a friend on court is nice, especially on day 7, as I haven't had anyone for the last 2 days, so it's nice.
Well, thank you for talking to us.
Cheers.
And good luck with the rest of the match.
Thank you very much.
So supported, she is based at, trains in Bath, and has got a friend alongside her to give a little bit of support. As she mentioned, she's been on her own this week, so nice. And we see that Freya has had a coach all week, but has got a mum here for the final match and a chance to get up close and personal.
Definitely, it's so nice to have someone there by your side. Tennis, as we know, it can be such a lonely sport. Of course, in the WTA Tour, they do get their coaches on the court. They can come and give them some advice. Here, they can cheer them on. They can't coach them, per se. But certainly words of encouragement, I'm sure, are flowing right now.
And as Barnett said, she believes it's on her racket. Must be difficult though. She mentioned getting that back spasm early on and having to try and play through it. Remember Grigor Dimitrov recently, the Australian Open, got the back spasm middle to low and just couldn't continue.
Yeah, it can be extremely painful indeed. But the yoga poses
Helping.
Yeah, definitely.
Pigeon has helped.
2-1, Christie.
Just long from Barnett. She's played so many match tie breaks this week, and interestingly, yesterday against Beth Gray, she led 3-love and 6-3. Gray coming through that, an absolute battle. Wonder if that'll be in her mind right now.
She did come through in one of these against Christie on day 4. But day 4 seems a long time ago.
3-1, Christie. Three, 2, Christie. Four, 2,
Big ball
Christie.
striking from Freya Christie, just to keep her nose in front.
That was far more like the Freya Christie we saw in the first set. Stepping in, and that's what Barnett said. Christie was taking on the ball. Just got a bit passive in that second set. Allowed Barnett to step in.
It is a wonderful insight you get with the headsets. You know, just hearing Alicia Barnett say, "Look, to be honest, I believe it's on my racket. I believe I'm in control of the destiny of this outcome." But it's really interesting to get that perspective from a player during a match.
It really is, because as we see, they've either lost or won a set. We get their immediate reaction. Granted, some of them are better at hiding their emotions than others. But to be fair to Lissy there, she was pretty frank with us in terms of her thoughts on the match. And for us, it's fascinating to get that insight, and I'm sure for the viewers watching as well. It's not something we get to do very often. Often it's post-match interview or press conference where the players had time to think about what they want to say. They've had time to take in what's happened in the match.
Long. Challenging. I know. Four, 2, Christie.
big could that replayed point turn out to
4-3.
be?
Christie.
Christie just standing further and further behind the baseline. Scoreboard pressure certainly getting in her head. Slicing once again off that backhand from so far back. You've got no option but to hit up. It just puts your opponent on the front foot.
Five, 3. Christie.
The ball was on her racket. Just sent it ever so slightly wide. Got a little bit jammed up there. No wonder she had a look of thunder. She knew that was an opportunity.
Five, 4. Christie. Six, 4. Christie.
Excellent play from Barnett.
6, 5.
Getting forward in the court.
Christie.
Just tightening things up.
Yeah, this match is really yo-yoing. 1 point apiece constantly right now. Getting closer and closer to the business end of this championship tiebreak, and you can just sense the tension between the two.
Good play from Christie in that point.
7,
Just to mix
5.
things up a little, drop
Christie.
it short. And Barnett knowing what she should have done and where she should have gone.
You're not happy with herself. Has given Christie a little bit of a cushion here, and I'm sure Christie will look to try and step in here. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive on the return of serve. She has an opportunity, and I'm sure she would love to serve at 8-5 if she got this next point. And what would you say if you were a mum right now?
I wouldn't say anything. This is a bad time to talk. Yeah, Mum stays quiet at this point. Still 3 matches to come following this. The third place playoff with Anton Matusevic and Dan Cox. Then we've got the finals, Beth Gray against Emily Appleton and Josh Paris against Billy Harris. And earlier today, Jack Findle-Hawkins, straight set 7-6, 6-1 over George Houghton.
Eight, 5, Christie.
That shot is normally one of Barnett's biggest weapons, the backhand down the line. Just didn't give the ball enough height there. What a chance here for Christie now.
Eight, 6, Christie.
That's so unfortunate for Christie. She was dictating that point. She had good length and then just threw in one a little bit too short. And Barnett stepped right in on that backhand. Put Christie under pressure on the slice once again. And that's been Christie's undoing from that side.
Eight, 7, Christie. Nine, 7, Christie.
And for a stare off the racket of Barnett, and match points for Freya Christie to end the week with a win and third place in the table after week 1 of the UK Pro League. On the serve though of Barnett.
Game, set,
There it
match,
is.
Christie.
It's long. It's too long from
2 sets
Alicia
to 1.
Barnett. And Freya Christie gets the win. She ends the week
6-4,
with the win. She
love 6,
ends the week
10-7.
in third place in the table. And now Mum Carol can have a cup of tea because Freya Christie has come through in the championship tiebreak to secure third place. And she'll be delighted with the way she managed to come back from dropping that second set.
Yeah, she certainly will. That was not an easy match for either player. It was Christie who came out playing really solid, attacking, aggressive tennis in that opening set, but her form just dipped in the second set, and credit to Barnett, she came back. And then it went the match tiebreak and Christie just edging it. It was some tentative tennis in that championship tiebreak, but at the same time, Christie dug in very deep and got her revenge on Barnett from that loss just a few days ago. Not much in it in terms of numbers, certainly a decent serving performance from both players. And Christy and her mum will breathe a sigh of relief. Will be delighted to get that win.
Yeah, it certainly will be, as Alicia Barnett takes her lead, maybe gets a little bit more treatment on that back spasm, which can't have been nice, but she's got time to rest now. Completed her 7th match if she's to be part of week 2. But we're going to hear from your winner in Freya Christie, who ends the week with a win. It's exactly how she would have wanted to end. She finishes 3rd in the table, and she's now speaking to Marcus.
Well, Freya, many congratulations. You two appear to specialise in epics.
Yeah.
Talk us through the highs and lows of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the start, you know, it was close. It was a close game. I think when me and Liz play, it's always going to be, as you said, a bit of an epic. We had that good match a couple of days ago. But yeah, no, I think I did well to kind of close out the first set. You know, had that little break at 5-4, and I regrouped well to kind of hold my serve there. And yeah, I think I just kind of played a few kind of loose points at the start of the second, and it just kind of snowballed on me. So I just had to, you know, reset and get ready to go for that 3rd set and kind of say, you know, it's last match of the week, and, you know, everyone's feeling tired out here. So it's just, you know, 10 minutes, a big push, and I'm glad I came through it.
How much of that match from a few days ago was in the front of your mind heading towards the closing stages?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, here we go again. But no, definitely, I think we know each other's games inside out. And, you know, after that epic match, I had match points. You know, she had match points and managed to take them. So seems to always go down to the wire when we play each other.
Well, of course, you came so close to actually making the final. But when you reflect now on the past 7 days, having come 3rd, how pleased are you with everything you've done?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been a great week for me. You know, the good thing about this system is, you know, even if you lose, you come back the next day, which for us players, we're not kind of used to, and it's great. So, you know, I was very disappointed to lose yesterday, but I actually played some good stuff, and you just have to reflect and think, you know, I'm playing well, and, you know, tomorrow's a new day, and I think that's what I did well today.
Yeah, well, some decent prize money, some points too, of course, which could be very useful come the end of the year. What are your plans in terms of playing in week 2? Will we see you back here in a few days?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to take a couple of days off now, that's for sure. Put my feet up on the sofa, and then I'll, you know, get back to training next week, and then, yeah, I'll be playing week 2 here, so looking forward to that.
Well, that's good. And will you now let your mum have a cup of tea, or
Yeah,
perhaps
she
something
deserves
even
a cup
stronger?
of tea now. She deserves to have a cup of tea now. Probably I'll buy her one, not out the flask though.
Is this a superstition? You just don't like tea on the court, or what is it?
No, I didn't know. I just thought if I hit a late ball or something, I'm going to hit it out of her hands or something, or it's going to spill. I don't know. So yeah, I'll just stick to the water, Mum.
Well, she deserves something. She got you into the sport in the first place. You've rewarded her today. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So well done to Freya, and as she said, she'll be back for week 2, and we'll have coverage of that here at Loughborough University again, starting just a week tomorrow. It is non-stop, all building towards the final week in November, where points will be absolutely critical. Jenny has rejoined me, and I've got to give you some credit first of all, because you tipped Freya to come through this one, and she did just.
I did indeed. I know you put me on the spot. Gigi's not looking forward to you putting her on the spot just shortly, but yes, I mean, it was great from Freya in terms that she got her revenge on Alicia from a couple of days ago. It wasn't an easy match for either player at all. Alicia clearly in some discomfort there, but credit to Freya. She came through that championship tiebreak when it was quite tense.
Well, it was, and that is understandable, but the fact that both players continued battling to the end, as they did a few days ago, as they always seem to do, has rather reflected everything we've seen this week. And of course you're allowed to get a bit nervous, but somehow you've got to find that key point at the end of a match like that.
Exactly, and that's something that I'm sure Freya will take from this. She lost to Alicia in the championship tiebreak just a few days ago. It came down to a couple of points, but today she turned it around. She dropped that second set by 6 games to love, and that's got to hurt your confidence a little bit, but she just took her time, and in that championship tiebreak she came through, and it's been a really successful week for her, considering both players haven't played a lot of tennis either, haven't played a lot of matches, have got a number of matches under their belt this week. And to come 3rd for Freya as well, you got to feel for Alicia. She won all of her group stage matches. She lost narrowly yesterday in the semi-finals, so she will probably feel a little bit down after narrowly losing that match as well. But still lots of positives for Alicia to take from this week too.
Yeah, okay, Jenny, thank you. Let us hope that Alicia's back spasm heals up quickly and we see her on court again in the not too distant future. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll have two men fighting for third place here at Loughborough University.